Hello Mysterious. Today, we're going to explain an American horror mystery film that released in August 2025. It has quickly become one of the most popular and talked about mysterious films of the year. As of now, it holds an impressive 8/10 rating on IMDb and an astonishing 95% fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes, clear proof of how gripping it is. Directed by Cregger, the movie draws you into a chilling mystery from the very first scene. The story begins in Pennsylvania at exactly 2:17 a.m. In the dead of night, several children suddenly run away from their homes without informing their parents, and they never return. Shockingly, all these kids belong to the same elementary school class. Out of 18 students, 17 vanish, leaving behind only a boy named Alex. The next morning, when their teacher Justin walks into class, she is stunned to find Alex sitting there alone. Soon, the frantic parents of the missing children arrive at the school, demanding answers and accusing Justin of being responsible for what happened. The police arrive and question both Justin and Alex in detail. Justin insists she is just as shocked as everyone else, and Alex maintains he knows nothing. With no solid leads, the police turn to CCTV footage from the children's homes and check fire alarm records. They discover something deeply unsettling: all 17 children left their houses at exactly the same time, moving as if in a hypnotized state, running in a strange, unnatural manner. The movie unfolds through the perspectives of different characters. First, we follow Justin's point of view. A meeting is held at the school with the parents and Principal Matthew. The room is filled with tension as parents bombard Justin with accusations, demanding to know what she taught their children that could make them run away. Principal Matthew steps in to defend her, insisting she had nothing to do with the incident. But one enraged father, Archer, stands up and furiously blames her before the meeting is brought to an abrupt end. Shaken and heartbroken, Justin heads to a wine shop to buy alcohol. There, she encounters James, a shady local who tries to ask her for money to buy drugs. She ignores him and quickly leaves, fearing that one of the angry parents might see her and attack. Many of them have already been sending her threats from unknown numbers. The next morning, as Justin steps outside her home to go to school, she is shocked to find the word witch spray painted on her car. Already feeling low, this pushes her over the edge. Furious, she calls the police to file a complaint. Later, we meet police officer Paul, a man who shares a close and complicated connection with Justin. He suggests she talk to Alex, the only remaining student, but the school principal refuses. Both the police and the school's internal committee have already questioned Alex thoroughly, and the principal insists they shouldn't pressure him any further. He's just a child. The principal also warns that the parents are furious, and for the sake of the school's environment, Justin should take a few days off. Reluctantly, Justin leaves, but she secretly begins following Alex, keeping an eye on him. One night, she visits a bar for a drink and runs into Paul again. She shares the recent events with him, but she's clearly drunk and urges him to drink with her. At first, he refuses, but after her insistence, he gives in. That night, the two end up in bed together, a situation that has happened multiple times before. Paul is married to a woman named Donna, and Justin knows this, yet their affair continues. The next day, Justin follows Alex again, trying to speak with him, but he runs away from her. She trails him all the way to his house, and waits outside for a long time, but no one answers the door. Then she notices something strange. Every single window of the house is covered with sheets of paper, blocking any view inside. Justin eventually spots a small gap in one of Alex's covered windows. Curious, she leans in to peek inside, and what she sees makes her freeze in shock. Alex's parents are sitting stiffly on the sofa, completely motionless, their posture unnervingly statue-like. The sight sends a wave of dread through her. Without hesitation, Justin calls the principal, urging him to involve the police and have Alex's house searched immediately. She ends the call quickly, her mind filled with worry that Alex might be in danger. Determined to keep watch, she spends the night in her car outside the house. But before long, fatigue overtakes her and she dozes off. Moments later, the front door opens. Alex's mother steps outside, moving in the same strange, hypnotized manner as the missing children. She's holding a pair of scissors. Without making a sound, she opens Justin's car door, snips off a small lock of her hair, and silently returns inside. Justin remains asleep, completely unaware of what just happened. The film then shifts to the perspective of Archer, the furious father who had confronted Justin at the school meeting. Archer's own son was among the missing children, and he has been desperate ever since. That night, he had even seen Justin entering the bar, and it was he who spray-painted Witch on her car. In fact, he had been secretly following her for days. Archer regularly visits the police station, trying to learn how far the investigation has progressed. One night, he watches the CCTV footage of his son leaving home, studying the direction in which he ran. The movement seems strange and unnatural. Archer pulls out a map and draws a red line indicating his son's path. Then he visits another victim's family to review their footage, tracing their daughter's escape route onto the same map. Both lines intersect at a single location, convincing Archer that the children must be somewhere near that spot. Setting out to search the area, Archer stops at a gas station and spots Justin's car. He confronts her angrily, just as the school principal comes running toward them. But something is horribly wrong. Principal Marcus is moving in the same disturbing, possessed way as the children. His clothes are soaked in blood, his body badly injured. Without warning, he launches himself at Justin in a violent attack, as though determined to kill her. Archer tries to defend her, but it's clear Marcus has no interest in him. His sole focus is ending Justin's life, as if under someone's control. Justin bolts into the gas station store, with Marcus breaking free from Archer's grasp and charging after her. It becomes clear beyond doubt that he's possessed, and he will not stop until Justin is dead. Somehow, she and Archer manage to escape. Both Justin and Archer later realize they've been having the same unsettling nightmare, an image of a strange old woman dressed like a clown. The film hints we should remember her. The story then shifts to yet another perspective, that of police officer Paul. This takes place the same day Justin's car was vandalized with the word witch. That day, Paul's wife, Donna, was out of town, though she returned unexpectedly early. Later, while on duty, Paul spots James, the drug dealer Justin had encountered before, trying to break into a house. Paul follows him, catching him attempting a forced entry. During the arrest, Paul searches James's pockets and accidentally pricks his hand on a needle, likely one James used for drugs. Furious, Paul punches James. Unfortunately, the entire incident is captured on his patrol car's dashcam. If his superiors saw the footage, Paul could be suspended for assault. To protect himself, Paul strikes a deal with James. He'll let him go if James promises never to mention what happened, and to leave town permanently. James agrees and flees. Later that night, Paul receives a call from Justin, inviting him to meet her at a bar. After a round of drinks, the two end up spending the night together. The next morning, Paul returns home, and is shocked to see his wife, Donna, already back earlier than expected. One look at Paul, and Donna instantly realizes he must have been drinking the previous night, and worse, that he had cheated on her with Justin. She had long suspected an affair between them. Later, when Donna encounters Justin at a shop, her anger boils over. She launches at Justin, knocking her to the floor, but the shopkeeper rushes in and pulls her away, saving Justin from further harm. The following day, Paul goes to the police station. Troubled by his conscience, he confesses to his superior about the assault he committed against James. The officer tells him that if no official complaint is made, Paul can avoid charges, and the CCTV footage will be automatically deleted in a few weeks. After leaving the station for patrol, Paul unexpectedly runs into James, who appears to be heading toward the police station. Paul immediately panics, thinking James is there to report him. Filled with anger, Paul confronts him, demanding to know why he's back in town, and ordering him to leave. James walks away, but Paul begins following him, and the scene cuts here. The story now shifts to James's perspective. James is a drug addict who spends his days lying to people for money to buy drugs, and when that fails, he resorts to theft. The day he first met Justin at the store, he had been begging her for money. Later, when Paul arrested him, James had actually been in the middle of breaking into a house to steal. The next day, James decides to steal some valuable items, sell them at a pawn shop, and use the money for drugs. His target ends up being Alex's house, Alex being the same boy who had survived when the other 17 children went missing. Inside, James pockets a few items. As he moves through the living room, he notices Alex's parents sitting stiffly on the sofa, completely motionless, almost like statues. At first, James panics, but then convinces himself they must be paralyzed, and continues stealing without fear. Wandering into the basement, James makes a horrifying discovery. The 17 missing children are all there, frozen like lifeless statues. Before he can process it, Alex's parents appear, attacking him. James narrowly escapes, running out into the street. Outside, he spots the missing children's posters plastered around town, each offering a $50,000 reward. As his greed takes over, he calls the police, claiming to know the children's location. The officer tells him that if he's telling the truth, he needs to come to the station immediately and provide full details to claim the reward. James sets off for the police station, but Paul intercepts him on the way, assuming he's going there to report the assault. Paul angrily chases him away and follows him into a nearby forest. In the forest, James comes across the same old woman with the clown-like face, the one Archer and Justin had seen in their nightmares. She gestures for him to come closer, but James ignores her and continues on, eventually finding a tent to spend the night in. Later, he hears someone trying to open the tent from outside. Panicking, James attacks with a needle only to realize it's Paul. The injection leaves Paul groggy, but he still manages to arrest James and lock him in the police car. Trying to save himself, James tells Paul about the missing children and offers to take him to Alex's house. Paul locks James inside the car and goes into the house alone. Hours pass, and Paul doesn't return. James grows nervous. Suddenly, the front door opens and Paul steps out, his eyes vacant, moving like he's in a trance. Without warning, he drags James out of the car and into the house. The story now shifts to Principal Marcus's perspective. Recall the scene when Justin had called Marcus, urging him to have the police search Alex's house. Marcus found the request strange, so he summoned Alex's parents to the school. But instead of them, the same old clown-faced woman arrived, introducing herself as Alex's aunt, Glades. She's the same figure seen in Archer and Justin's nightmares, and the same one James saw in the forest. Glades told Marcus that Alex's parents were sick and couldn't come. Marcus insisted he needed to see Alex in person, and if she refused, he would be forced to involve child services. This clearly unsettled Glades, who left shortly after. That night, while Marcus was at home with his wife, Glades unexpectedly appeared at his door, asking for water. In her hand was a plant stem covered in sharp thorns. At the top of the stem was a small piece of the school office flag, clearly stolen from Marcus's office. Glades pricked her own finger on the thorns, smearing her blood onto the stem. The moment she did, Marcus's expression changed. He had fallen into a trance, now completely under her control. As she snipped off a lock of his hair, tied it to the stem, then snapped the stem into pieces. Finally, she rang a small bell, and Marcus, now possessed, violently attacked his wife, injuring himself in the process. When she dipped the stem into water, Marcus returned to his normal state. This revealed an unsettling truth: Glades could control anyone using that plant stem, manipulating their minds and making them attack whoever she wished. The next time, Glades sent Marcus after Justin, ordering him to kill her. Marcus chased her relentlessly, but Archer managed to save Justin just in time. Justin got into her car and drove off, with Marcus in hot pursuit, and Archer following close behind. Marcus, running oddly down the road, never stopped chasing her until a speeding car suddenly struck him, killing him instantly. From this incident, Archer realized Justin had no involvement in the missing children cases. He approached her, showed her a map, and explained how all the missing children's CCTV footage pointed toward a single location. Justin immediately recognized it. That was Alex's house. The two of them drove there and began watching the house closely. The scene then shifts to Alex's perspective, showing how it all began. Even before the disappearances, Alex attended school like any other student, though he was often bullied and teased by classmates. He lived with his parents, until one day, his mother's elderly and sickly aunt arrived to stay with them. She carried with her a mysterious plant. Having nowhere else to live, she settled in their home. The next day, after school, Alex's father didn't come to pick him up, so Alex walked home himself. When he arrived, he was shocked his parents were in a completely hypnotized state, unable to move. Even when Alex spoke to them, they responded in a strange robotic manner. It was then that Alex realized something unnatural had happened. Gladys appeared, looking far younger and healthier than before. Alex soon understood she had possessed his parents. She warned him that if he told anyone about this, his parents would die. And she pricked her finger, letting blood drip onto the plant's stem. At once Alex's parents, sitting at the dining table, began stabbing themselves with forks. Alex panicked and tried to stop them, but they didn't listen. Only when Gladys dipped the stem into water did they stop. This horrifying display was a warning. If Alex disobeyed, his parents would suffer. Over time, Alex observed Gladys performing strange rituals with the plant, using it to possess people and drain their life force, making herself even younger and stronger. But to possess someone, she needed a personal item from them, a hair, a piece of clothing, or something they owned. Each day, Alex silently went to school, and after classes, bought beans for his parents, since they couldn't move from the dining table and could only eat what he fed them. Meanwhile, Gladys kept growing more radiant and powerful. Then one day, she began to age again. Desperate, she told Alex that if he brought her personal items from his classmates, she would restore his parents to normal. The next day at school, Alex gave in. After much hesitation, he stole all of his classmates' name stickers. That night, Gladys began a ritual with those stickers. At exactly 2:17 a.m., she rang a bell. The moment the bell rang, all 17 students left their homes, walked to Alex's house, and stood in the basement like lifeless statues. The news exploded with reports, and Alex was heavily questioned by the authorities. But he said nothing. When the police came to search the house, Gladys hid the 17 children in the forest and cleaned the home spotless. Once the search ended, she brought the children back still under her possession and completely obedient to her. Despite possessing the students, she never released Alex's parents. She treated Alex like a servant. Paul and James were also under her control, frozen like statues inside the house. One day, Gladys drew a salt line and warned Alex never to cross it. The multiple perspectives ended, and the story returned to the present. Justin and Archer were still sitting in their car outside Alex's house. The front door opened, and Paul stepped out, calling Archer over. Cautiously, Justin and Archer followed him inside. But as soon as they crossed the salt line, Paul and James attacked them. Archer and Justin fought back, but the possessed men kept getting up and attacking again. Justin finally grabbed Paul's gun and shot both him and James in the head, killing them instantly. They realized then that a headshot was the only way to kill someone under Gladys' control. Archer headed for the basement, searching for his son Matthew. But Gladys appeared, silently cut some of his hair, and performed a ritual placing Archer under her possession as well. Meanwhile, Alex sat in his room, deep in thought. Then he rose and stepped across the salt line, because beyond it stood his statue-like parents. The moment he crossed, they attacked him, injuring him. He managed to escape and hid inside a room, the same room where Gladys performed her rituals. Inside, the mysterious plant waited. Meanwhile, Alex learned a sinister ritual from Gladys and decided to use it against her. He broke off a stem from her strange plant, wrapped it with a strand of her hair, pricked his own finger to smear it with blood, and then snapped the stem. Immediately, the 17 possessed students began chasing Gladys. Gladys ran from the house, but the group caught up to her, attacking her viciously. They tore her apart piece by piece until she was gone. The moment she died, everyone under her control was freed from possession. Archer recovered quickly because he hadn't been possessed for long. But those who had been under her control for a long time, including Alex's parents, remained like living corpses. Archer was finally reunited with his son, though the boy still couldn't speak. Alex's parents also couldn't feed themselves even after a year, forcing Alex to live with a kind, normal aunt. The 17 students remained mute as well, though a few began to recover after a year. Here's what really happened. Gladys was a woman skilled in black magic, and she was actually Alex's mother's aunt. When she came to live with Alex's family, she used her powers to drain the life force from his parents, to keep herself young and healthy. Once their life force was depleted, she began using Alex to control 17 other children, feeding on them as well. Her method involved a strange magical plant. She would attach something belonging to her victim like hair, clothing, or a name tag to a stem, smear it with her blood, and ring a bell. This bound the victim under her control. If she wanted the possessed person to attack someone, she would snap the stem, triggering the assault. If the stem was broken and dropped into water, the victim would return to normal. But young Alex didn't know this, which is why he couldn't save everyone. Gladys targeted anyone who stood in her way. Before she could escape the city, Alex turned her own ritual against her, killing her. This freed those whose life force she hadn't completely consumed like Archer, but those she had drained entirely, such as Alex's parents, could never recover. Some of the children partially healed over time, because a bit of their life force remained. The film is called Weapons because Gladys used her victims as personal weapons, just as she used Marcus like a guided missile to target Justin. As for Gladys's true identity, the movie only confirms that she was Alex's mother's elderly relative. My belief, she was an ancient witch, likely over 100 years old, who had kept herself alive for decades by stealing others' life force through that mysterious plant. The movie never explains where the plant came from, but given how popular the film is becoming, I'm sure a prequel will reveal its origins. The nightmares Archer and Justin experienced were because they had direct emotional ties to Gladys's victims, Archer through his missing son, and Justin because she genuinely loved and cared for the children, often looking after them, and even taking them home. Though she had a troubled past, including a drunk driving incident, she had a kind heart. Unfortunately, her closeness to the children also made her a target for suspicion when they began disappearing. And that, friends, is the full story of Weapons. Stay mysterious.